Hi, welcome back to the Adore Beauty YouTube channel. My name is Amy, I'm the senior editor here at Adore Beauty. We're going to do something a little bit different. I don't know if anyone watched Hannah and Joanna's Get Ready With Me makeup looks, glam, that whole shebang. I thought that looked really fun. I want to do something similar. So I'm going to do a Get Ready With Me makeup tutorial, but specifically for freckles and red hair. So if you have a similar coloring to me, or you just like to watch makeup videos and learn a few tips and tricks along the way, keep watching. First things first, let's get this hair clipped out the way. If you're someone that reads a lot of beauty articles, watches makeup tutorials, those kinds of things, there are a lot of rules about, you know, if you have this skin tone, you should wear this, you should avoid this. I am not about that at all. I'm 100% for wear whatever the makes you feel amazing, because at the end of the day, makeup is for you and it's to make you feel like your best self. That said, I'm going to run through some of the products, different colors and tones that I find work really well with my red hair and freckly complexion. First things first is foundation. Today I'm going to wear the MAC Studio Radiance. This is the Studio Radiance Face and Body. It's sheer to light coverage, dewy finish. So it actually doesn't cover up my freckles, it lets them shine through. And I think that's probably the biggest thing I've learned about foundation. I used to wear a lot of full coverage, medium to full coverage foundations, and would wonder why, it just doesn't look quite right, or it's not giving me the look I'm after. It's because I was trying too hard to cover up my freckles. I really like Giorgio Armani, the Neo Nude True to Skin Natural Glow Foundation, and that one's in the shade 3.5. If I'm going out or I have an event, this foundation is amazing. It's the YSL Touche Eclat Le Tint, and the shade is BR25, but today I'm going to be using MAC. My shade is C1. So if you look here, the skin here where I don't have any freckles is actually going to be a very different shade to say here or here where I do have freckles. Usually I'm a touch warmer than what my actual, natural unfreckled complexion is. But you can just blend your foundation down, blend that out with a foundation brush. Okay, so that's my foundation done. As you can see, it's just a very light, glowy base that still lets my freckles shine through. So now my base is done, I'm going to actually add just coverage where I need it using a concealer. I've spoken about this one before. It's the Napoleon Perdis The One concealer. Very full coverage, but very creamy and still quite illuminating. So I like to apply a concealer with a brush, but again, it's a great way to still get coverage where you need without covering up your beautiful freckles, because freckles are not something to be covered up. They're something to be celebrated. I like to use a brush to blend my concealer. So this brush is Spectrum BO3. Oh, I completely forgot I put some on my chin. One plus side to having freckles, I think, is that your pimples kind of just blend in with the freckles. So I don't usually fuss too much about trying to cover them up. There's pros and cons to everything, right? Next step is bronzer. I have been using my bronzer, which is the Hoola Light, for so many years. It's the best matte bronzer shade I've found for fairer, freckly skin tones like mine. You can see there, so it's just a bit lighter than the original Hoola. I just find that it doesn't leave my complexion as kind of muddy looking. And I'm just applying it with a Spectrum brush from the Katie Jane Hughes kit. So this is the 02. Always dust off the excess. One thing too with bronzer application is I'm not much of a contourer with my bronzer, just because you've got freckles, and if you're gonna do a line, no matter how well it's blended, it's still gonna be semi-obviously a line because you've got some other bits and pieces going on here. So I just like to do around the hairline and jaw, and that is kind of my contouring. And then the rest, I like to just sweep the color up the cheekbone just to really add warmth. So you can see the difference there. We've got bronzer, no bronzer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do, oh my God, I just hit pan. That's so sad when that happens, because it's like the beginning of the end. I also like to use this as a base for eyeshadow too. Swipe that over the eyes. Now let's do brows because I've had a lash lift not long ago, but my brows, as you can see, they're basically invisible. So let's just draw them on so we know what we're working with. I prefer to have a bit of a cooler brow than this warmer shade because I just like the contrast. So I'm just gonna use good old Benefit Gimme Brow, and this is the shade 3. But again, you're just gonna wanna see what works best for you. And I'm just gonna very gently pop some of that on. And then I get my eyebrow brush again and I just take it through like that. And then I use the other end, which is like a little eyeliner brush, to tidy up. So you can see it's not a huge difference, but it just is enough to give a bit more definition to the brows. Now onto blush. Now, I used to not wear blush because I thought, okay, I already get red cheeks. I already get really overheated and flustered, and blush just accentuates that redness. And I feel like that is a real missed opportunity. As you can tell, blush is my favorite makeup category. This one here is the Giorgio Armani Liquid Blushes in the shade 51, and that is quite a bright pink. So if it's a bright pink or a bright orange, I love that. Kind of like my go-to everyday shade is more of an autumnal color palette. So something like Anastasia Beverly Hills blush sticks, and this is the shade Peach Caramel. It's almost like more of a brown. I think let's do the Giorgio Armani in the 32. So I pop that on. I line it up with the pupil like Megan says. I like to use a stippling brush for blush. I also find these kind of autumnal shades really bring out my eyes, which, as you can see, are green. If you think of the color wheel, green and pinks and stuff are opposite, so they bring each other out really nicely. So don't believe anyone who says that if you have red hair, you can't wear pink lipstick, red lipstick, you can't wear bright blush. You absolutely can. In terms of eyeshadows, I keep it pretty simple, but I do like to do a tonal makeup look. So if I'm doing a certain blush on my cheeks, I like to mirror those colors with the eyeshadow and also with the lips. So again, I'm going to take my bronzer and just do a little bit more. I'll show you this palette. This is the Eye of Horus Winter Solstice palette. The ones that I quite like for my complexion are, well, actually all of them except for this blue shade. Bronzy shades, plums, deep pinks, gold, browns, even like a khaki green. But I'm actually just gonna use my blush as my eyeshadow today. Pop a bunch on the back of my hand and just pick up some of that color to then bring it over to the eye. So get it down and then we'll blend. And then I might even pop, just for fun, a bit of the MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pots, but in this really fun shade called Babe of Charms, and pick up some of that color and swipe it onto the lid. And then eyeliners. I'm not really a big fan of black eyeliner on me. Just not really a big fan of eyeliners in general because I'm too lazy. But something I love to do is use an eyeshadow stick. Today I'm going to use this Napoleon Purtis one, which is the Luxe Lid Eye Sticks in Ron Burgundy. It just is going to add a bit of definition to the eye, but also tie in the eye look. It's like eyeshadow for dummies. Draw on a bit of this, and then I'm going to use an eyeliner brush like this one to just tidy and smudge it out. I have just had a lash lift though, and it's always interesting trying to do eyeliner when you've had a lash lift. Get it on. You know, don't ask for permission, just seek forgiveness after. I take my brush and I'm just gonna... And then the beauty is if you feel like, oh, I've done too much or whatever, you just go back and get your other brush and blend it out. Let's whack on a tiny bit of mascara because we need to just get this show on the road. In terms of mascara, I actually, even though I don't like a black eyeliner, I do like a black mascara. Hair out. It's time to talk about lips. Actually, after blush, lips is my favorite makeup step, because I just love how a lip product can completely transform your makeup look. Use whatever shades that you like. That said, I will share some of my favorite shades, and they do actually tie into the blush shade. So I like to keep my blush and my lips semi-matching because I think it's just really beautiful. Sometimes I even use my lipstick as blush and as an eyeshadow. So just, you know, let that sink in. Probably my favorite pink lipstick ever is this one from MAC. It's a Powder Kiss liquid lipstick in the shade A Little Tamed, and it is just the most stunning shade. This is probably the one I'll wear today because it will go with my eyes. If I'm doing a red, personally, I like to go for more of an orange toned red, and this one is from Benefit. This is the California Kissin' Color Balms. Oh, it's called the shade Poppy. So that one is stunning. I love it. Then two other shades that I want to talk about are these Makeup Forever lipsticks. They're like a suede matte lipstick. Again, I'm kind of going with the autumnal colors here. Rouge Artist in Striking Spice. So it's a really like beautiful kind of matches with my hair, matches with the autumn vibes. And the other shade I like, it is Stylish Lychee, a bit more of an orangey base. But I think today I'm gonna do the MAC one. And we are done. I hope you enjoyed getting ready with me. If you have any amazing freckle makeup tips or products you swear by for your red hair, please let me know because I'm always looking for another makeup product. If you would like us to do any more of these get ready with me, just, you know, shooting the shit, just chatting while doing our beauty stuff, hair, makeup, skin, whatever, let us know down here because they are actually a lot of fun. So that's it from me, and I will see you next time. Bye.